Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and this is episode 23 of my Let's Play Grand Campaign War in the East. I'm playing as the Soviets, and I haven't been in here in a while, and the reason is I've kind of had a couple of bad days at work. Nothing serious, it's just it can get to you at times. And also, I've been actually receiving my computer components for my next computer. The only thing I have missing at this point is the case itself, and then I will be ready to start building it. My first computer build, and it'll be the best computer I ever had. The most technologically advanced for the time period that I'm in that I'll have ever had. It will actually be on, I wouldn't necessarily say the cutting edge of computer builds, but it'll be close. It will be, I think, an i7 motherboard. Some of the new 67 i6700 CPU will be pushing it. Then, I don't even know what the name, the Maxwell, I think CPU might be the name of it. For all I know, I've heard it called something like that, but it's a one of the most new CPUs that they have out there, and I am kind of looking towards the future and building this because a lot of people say that the older 4790s or whatever can be upgraded kind of to the or overclocked to have the same speed and the same performance as the new build. But the newer motherboards that are using these have the 3.1 USB connectivity and then something called MD.2 or something that's supposed to make the transfer, I think, between your um, your I can't even think of it, your hard drives, your SSD hard drives. It's supposed to make it even quicker or faster, I think. I'm not positive about that. I'm not a computer expert by any means, but also I'm looking forward in kind of in a forward looking manner because I think that these motherboards will be optimized for the new Nvidia cards that they're just about to start coming out with. I have a 980. I bought a 980 Ti for this computer build, but they're coming out with the 1080 and the 1070s, and I think these new motherboards will be able to take advantage of the capabilities of those graphics cards. I don't know that for a fact, but it just seems like it, and so I'm kind of positioning myself for the future for the graphics cards and CPUs to take advantage of these newer motherboards. I'm hopeful that's the case, but even so, I think the build that I'm going to have will at least carry me through the next 2 to 3 years and be a very good build so that I can play whatever I want to play and do some of these videos as well. And I think there's also something on the new motherboards that makes it that has better networking capabilities as well. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head what that is, but anyway, episode 23. And to be quite honest, and I hope it's been actually recording the tabletop while I've been talking, or the computer game while I've been talking. Um, Episode 23. I think I'm doing okay. And see, now I'm starting to get a lot of these units that I've been moving up. I'm starting to get them in place to actually slow down or stop these guys coming from the Smolensk area. I can't move that guy. But yeah, I'm not discouraged in the least. I think I think I think my guys are going to be able to do it. I think they're going to pull it off. We are getting the units up fast enough, if you ask me. Oh, I do need to. I do need to move some factories, I do believe. I don't think that I have done a very good job of moving factories over the last couple of turns. This guy's taking a long time to get up there through the mountains, but he'll get there eventually. We got these guys. You see how they don't like moving across the the swamp and river right here. But I think once I get them across, they'll do a good job. I'm gonna leave him there. I'll move him up one. But once I get those guys across that river, I think they'll do a very fine job in getting to the front. He's a 7. Move those guys. We'll move him. He's a 5, and that was weird. So, we are getting there. These 3 units, I do believe I am going to have them go directly up here, or some of them anyway. Some of them I got to put down here. I'm still worried about this. There's not much I can do about it, though. And I'm worried a little bit about this if they keep pushing. What are you going to do, though? I should have pulled everything I think the Russians did. Wow, look at all these units. I think what the Russians did was they pulled most of their units, or a lot of their units, from the south and placed them in the north and near Leningrad, or not necessarily near Leningrad, but threw them all right into the line near Moscow. And so that's why I think the Germans were able to get all the way to Stalingrad. They didn't do a good job of actually keeping it after they took it, but they pushed pretty far into the Soviet Union down in the south. And I think it's because most of the Russian or Soviet fighting units have been moved north. And maybe that's what I should have been doing. Maybe if I had done that, we wouldn't be looking at Leningrad being cut off. But as I mentioned several times, this is my first playthrough, so I'm not gonna do the ideal thing every single time. But yeah, I want to leave them there. Bring him up. Those guys can stay there. I mean, I guess I could move the airfields up. There's another 20 movement. At this point, I'm almost to the point of saying, let's just save Moscow. And if Leningrad goes, it goes. Because I don't think I can save it if they really push it. And if that's the case, then see you later, Leningrad. Alright, well. I got these guys, but this area seems to be pretty well defended. Got a guard unit there. It's pretty nice. And then one down here, it looks like. Yeah. another Guards Rifle Division, and then one here, another Guards Rifle Division. So it's September 11th, 1941. I don't think I'm gonna actually, was paying attention to my playthrough of War in Russia, and I don't think I'm gonna get bad weather until October actually. So I might get a little rain. Who knows? Hopefully. So anyway, let's end the turn, and then cringe at what the Germans do to me. So I'm pretty excited about building this computer. I really am looking forward to it. I played around with the idea for months, and then just one day I decided I was going to do it. And the difference in quality from building one compared to one that you just buy from, Best Buy or somebody like that, the difference in quality of the components is almost, indescribable. Because I have looked at some of the the specs of some of these that are online. So yeah, jeez, unbelievable. Or not that unbelievable, actually. I might end up losing this game because once these guys are once they're free to start attacking east again, I might not be able to hold them up. But the difference in the quality of the components between what you might get from a Dell or a Cyber Power or an Asus or whatever, it's pretty big. I will say that Asus probably uses, it builds all the components that it probably puts into its computers, but that the laptop I have is an Asus computer, and it's pathetic. The video card isn't anywhere near as good as I thought it was. I was thinking it was, fairly close to top of the line for laptops, and it wasn't. It's barely better than the video card in this computer, and this computer's 5 years old. So I'm very disappointed in that, and so, I'm doing my own computer, and that's that. And that is Leningrad, I think, isn't it? Yeah, I think that is. And I think I've lost Leningrad pretty much, which, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And for a long time, when it was St. Petersburg, I think that's where the Tsars actually ruled from, was St. Petersburg, for a pretty good while at least. That's where a lot of the treasures and a lot of the palaces, I think, were for a long time. And then Moscow started getting built up. But Moscow seems like a modern city from what I can tell. I know it's been around for a fairly good while, but every time I've ever seen pictures of it, it doesn't seem like it's a very old city with very old architecture. Man, I tell you, the AI is kicking my ass in this game. Probably, it's much better than the AI was in War in Russia. War in Russia, they didn't try to surround you. They didn't try to do anything. They attacked when they had bad numbers, You know, when their numbers were not anywhere near as good as yours, they would still attack. They would attack in bad weather, and they'd take horrendous losses. Sheesh. Not that time. Damn. Not going very well. This is one of those games, though. You play it the first time and you don't do that well. And the second time, you do, fairly incrementally better. Marginally maybe a little bit better. And the third time, you're a lot better than you were the first time, but you still might be losing. And then the fourth or fifth time you play through it, you just, you're just wiping them up. You're doing so much better than you did before that it's not even a question of even losing anymore. I mean, that's the way I was with the war in Russia. The first time I played it, the Germans just rolled right over me. And the second and third times, I did a lot better, and then from then on, I was beating it, and beating it on probably the hardest level. You give the Axis the most help, which means that they have a supply level of 10 in each hex throughout most of 41, and then they're almost unstoppable at that when they have that kind of supply level. So I'm gonna look at this as a learning experience. Don't think I'm gonna. I don't. I'm not discouraged. I think I could still win, but losing Leningrad was huge. I think it was really huge, and that concerns me. That losing Leningrad concerns me. I didn't think it would be that easy for them to take Leningrad. They took it in September of 41. If they had done that in real life, man, Hitler would have been handing out, the Iron Cross First Class or whatever they called it to just about everybody involved. The Order to Preußen, some of the Prussian medals. I think they were still giving them out in World War II. Possibly. I might be wrong about that. The Iron Cross with oak leaves, maybe. Oak clusters, something like that, or gold clusters. I don't know. I'm not up on the medals that were given out, but he'd be giving these dudes medals left and right after taking Leningrad. I probably need to rethink my strategy a little. Sounds like somebody's cutting hedges and shrubs outside. This is a monster game. I It's a pretty big game. It's the biggest game I've ever played. You can have, I think, 230 something turns in this game. See how far out he is now? This guy, I need to cut him off. But 230 turns. Some of the AJOG games have that many turns, especially Pride of Nations. Actually, Pride of Nations, if you play from the beginning, the grand campaign from the beginning to the end, you will have played 1,600 turns. That's a lot of damn turns, and Pride of Nations doesn't process very quickly. Um, a turn, it's quicker than this, obviously, but a turn is about, could take up to 5 to 10 minutes in Pride of Nations, depending on your computer. In the beginning of the game, the turns go pretty quickly, but once you've been into the game for about 15 or 20 years, the turns start taking a lot longer to process. And I think it was a strategic mistake not to try to bolster Leningrad's defenses with troops taken from the south and pretty much let them push to Stalingrad, because that's a long way to get to Stalingrad, so it would have taken them probably till winter time to get there. Instead, I left all those troops down there in the south, and they're not even going to get close to Stalingrad, but I've lost Leningrad. And it's fairly quick to get to the outskirts of Leningrad, really. So it's taking them turn 14 to get to the outskirts of Kiev, which is pretty good down in the south. I think they got to, a lot of games I've seen, they get to Kiev fairly quickly, especially if the human is running the Germans. In war in Russia, they would tend to run out, further out away from their lines than they do here. They'd have a lone, Panzer division come all the way out here somewhere, and you could just cut them off really easily. And you might not be able to take them out immediately, but you could cut them off from the supply. And air supply is not anywhere near as good as regular supply, I don't think, because you could just start cutting them off and start attacking them left and right, and eventually he'd be so worn down that he'd just surrender. So this is good. This is very much a learning experience. I see how down here I've been able to hold them up. They haven't even tried to attack across that river, mostly in the very bottom south. I mean, obviously up here, up in this area, they pushed us back, but in this area they haven't even tried to push us back, except right there now. But so that kind of tells you that I almost have too much forces here, because they haven't even tried to attack. They did move this guy across the river, or across the bay right there, that whatever bay that is. And that's not necessarily the greatest thing ever, but you live with it. Live with your mistakes. I don't think this will be an utter ass kicking if I lose the game, like it was in the American Revolution AJOG game that I played. That was a utter ass kicking. I was getting my ass kicked, and just the mechanics of the game kept me alive. They couldn't do the coup de grace on me, or coup de grace on me, And so I kept hanging around and hanging around, couldn't do anything, which wasn't all that fun, but hey. So that's why I called an end to that Let's Play. But this one, I guarantee you will get to an end game decision. They'll either completely annihilate you, or you'll completely annihilate them. And my today is Monday, and my case for my computer is supposed to arrive Wednesday. I don't think I'll try to build it on Wednesday night. I think I'll wait till the weekend, but I can't wait. I can't wait. That's gonna be awesome. I don't. You might not see me for a couple of days. I might be playing something like I don't know. Has the new Tom Clancy game come out yet? The new, damn, I can't even remember the name of it, but it's an open world type game that's a first person type shooter. Yeah, see, Leningrad, we hardly knew you. See, yeah. Oh well, Northwest Leningrad. If I should, I'm gonna do that. Hell yeah. Oh man. Oops. Let's see. Oh, show the victory screen. So Axis VPs are 178. Automatic Axis decisive victory, 290 plus VPs. Axis major victory, 200 to 289 on ending turn. Axis minus minor victory. So really though, at the beginning of the game, in 1941, Axis VPs run upwards pretty quickly, but at some point there's like a tipping point, and the Soviets start building up their VPs and start capturing stuff, and the Axis VPs start going down. The objective is to stop them, obviously, before they get to 290, and currently they're at 178. So it's not looking that great, and we have a potential of 225 turns. Soviet decisive victory. I don't know if I capture Berlin, if that's an immediate win or not. I guess 39 or less VPs for Axis. Because it wouldn't make any sense for the Soviets to win by having 39 or less VPs. So I guess that's Axis. And if I capture Berlin, I have to capture Berlin before January 1st, 1945 to get decisive victory. If it's after January 1st but before May 31st, then it's just a major victory, and they have to have less than 39 victory points, which I'm beginning to think they're not going to have less than 39 victory points unless somehow they lose victory points at some point. And if this is driven by a territory gained, and that's it, it's not driven by any kind of losses, then it's conceivable that I could push them back down to below 39. So that's what I'm looking at for the next. I'm on turn 14. I got 225 turns left, or not left, but total. So I'm looking at 211 turns left. Do you think do you think you can stand that long? I know I can if I'm winning. I mean, if it's just a complete and utter destruction, they'll probably win quickly. But if I'm get through 41 and I start pushing them back, and I can recapture Leningrad and push them back on all in all phases, then yeah, I can play to 225 turns, and I can record to 225 turns. It's going to take a while. Probably seems like it's taken 2 episodes, so it's hours wise. It's 1 hour per turn, pretty much, and so that's 225 hours. And I could run more than one turn a night. I could do that, but if I'm doing one episode a night, that's 422 episodes left. That's over a year away. That's a lot of playing. I'm gonna have to start playing more turns, I think, per night, or playing longer to get to the end. So I might play a little bit more and record a little bit more on the weekends, especially after I have my computer. Their turns, hopefully, and I know that these games don't take advantage of all the cores that are in the CPU. I think they use at most 2 to 3. But even so, I got the feeling that my new computer will be able to run their AI turns a lot faster. And so then I might be able to get in 2 turns a night. If I maybe go 45 minutes, I could do 2 turns a night. That's not bad, because then that becomes 100 nights, roughly, maybe 3 to 4 months. So yeah, it's doable, definitely doable. Well, anyway, this episode's 32 minutes long so far, so I'm gonna call it to a close. It's not been a very good one. We've lost Leningrad, the main port of Leningrad. Northwest Leningrad is still in my hands, but probably not for too much longer. And they're pushing back in the north. They're pushing us back in the north pretty easily. Near Moscow, they're pushing us, but we're slowing them down. I need to move some of these guys down here, I guess, and block this push up this area. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate every one of my viewers. And if you haven't subscribed, you're welcome to subscribe. And you don't have to watch every single episode, but check in every week or so if you're not the kind that can watch every single episode, and just see how it's going, because we'll still be here fighting the good fight for the motherland. So take care, and I will see you next time.